Good evening. We are going to begin the meeting with roll call. Okay. Supervisor Kano.
Present.
Supervisor Christie.
Here.
Supervisor Hines.
Present.
Supervisor Scott.
Here.
Chair Allen. Here. Let the record show all board members are present. Next, I will invite Doyle Morrison, our Community Engagement Manager from Justice Services, up to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doyle. Wondering if you could share anything about the happenings at Justice Services Department.
Well, let's see, Chair Allen and board members. We're just excited to continue to do what we're doing to make a difference in Pima County. What we're doing at the Department of Justice Services and the growth that we've been able to have through different grants, different opportunities to really be able to build upon the things we're doing at the Transition Center, what we're doing and bringing up new programs, new incentives, what we're doing with the opioid reaction and funds there, what we're doing with the deployments with TPD, all the different things that we're really focusing on. It's just been really exciting to have started with the county and this department when it was like 4 of us, and now we're up to almost 25, I believe. But to be able to just grow exponentially and continue the work in justice reform. The Transition Center is now open 7 days a week from 5 a.m. to 12 midnight. We've got it fully staffed and we're working there, and we're seeing at least around 1,000 individuals monthly with new engagements as well as follow-up engagements, working with folks there. We're working with TPD to get out and do the kind of deployments and really meeting people where they're at in the community, making sure that we're supporting them, getting them into services, and not necessarily getting them into the jail or any other justice involvement, trying to make sure that they get the resources they need for whatever barriers they're facing. And we're continuing to work in the community, doing outreach, finishing up some of our SJC grants, finishing up our racial equity cohort, and continuing to bring communities to the table to make sure they feel like they have a voice in our justice system and they understand what we've done with our strategies, what we're continuing to do, and bringing some sustainability to that work as well. But overall, I'm just excited to be a part of this and to see us grow and to get the support from the Board of Supervisors, from our community, to really make this difference in our community, aligning with a lot of the initiatives you guys are working on.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for all the work and for sharing.
All right.
Next, I would like to invite up Dr. Marcela Molina from the Tucson Girls Chorus to lead us in the land acknowledgement.
Good afternoon. On behalf of Pima County residents, we honor the tribal nations who have served as caretakers of this land from time immemorial and respectfully acknowledge the ancestral homeland of the Tohono O'odham Nation and the multimillennial presence of the Paswayaki tribe within Pima County. Consistent with Pima County's commitment to diversity and inclusion, we strive towards building equal partner relationships with Arizona's tribal nations.
Thank you. And anything you want to share about what's going on with the Tucson Girls Chorus?
Yes, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about the TGC. The Girls Chorus have been in our community for the past 40 years. We are celebrating now our 41st year, and it's an organization that empowers young women through music. We believe that music has is an incredible tool for civic engagement and the next generation of philanthropists, the next generation of board members, and leadership. We have 3 locations where we serve with a tuition-based membership with scholarship for everyone who needs it. We partner with Title I schools to provide this program free of charge for the families. And we have a robust music education support program to support the music teachers in our community to ensure that they have resources and that we encourage or support the longevity of the music teachers or the teachers in their careers. So we have retention in that important role as music educators of our next generation. So music is a powerful tool, and it's beautiful to hear them sing, but it's more beautiful to see them how they blossom into really wonderful, thoughtful, engaged citizens and women who are going to make changes, profound changes in our community. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, and thank you for all you do. Next on the agenda is current events and public acknowledgements. Right, Supervisor Scott.
Chair Allen, I need to share with my colleagues and our community the sad news about the passing of Dr. Patricia Lopez, a longtime Tucson educator. She was a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and for many of us who worked in K-12 schools, a trusted friend and valued mentor and advisor. And I'd be grateful if we could have a brief moment of silence to honor her memory and her long service to the Tucson community. Thank you, Chair Allen.
Thank you. Supervisor Cano.
Thank you, Chair Allen, and good evening. Welcome to your Board of Supervisors hearing room. This is the first Board of Supervisors meeting since the tragedy that we experienced in downtown in District 5 just a few days ago. It goes without saying that I want to extend our deep appreciation to the men and women of the Tucson Police Department who responded within 10 seconds of shots being fired and who helped save lives. This is a conversation that is now happening in our community about how we take care of one another, how we ensure that those who should not have a firearm do not have access to them, and more importantly, as we look forward, this is a time for us as Southern Arizonans to be proud of our downtown region. One isolated event cannot define the trajectory of the small businesses, of the restaurants, of the retail spaces that we have to stifle that investment in our city core. We have done so much working with the public and private sector to come together to create opportunity, and we have to keep that going. And so I ask all of you to be a part of that conversation, to consider coming to downtown and to enjoy this beautiful space that we have created in partnership with all of our regional partners, and of course extend our gratitude in District 5 to our first responders as well. Thank you.
I will note that District 3 office hours are in Arivaca on, I think that's this coming Saturday, August 1st. Yes, that would be this Saturday, at the Farmers Market. We'll be there from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. We have office hours in 3 Points on Wednesday, August 5th at the Hub, and we'll be there from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then I also just wanted to note, on Sunday, I attended an event in the Oregon Pipe National Monument. It was a Hands Around the Spring event. And the spring was Quito Baquito Spring. This is it is a literal oasis in the desert. It is a spring that is surrounded by reeds and palm trees. It is filled with 4 native fish that are only found in this spring. It is also a spring that is a mere 30, 40 feet from the border wall. And it is being encroached upon by contractors who are building not the first wall, but in fact are building the second wall. That will right now, according to what the plans that I have seen, this wall goes right through the middle of the spring. It is a sacred site utilized by the Tono Atom Nation. At the event, we were joined by members from the Pisinamo district, community leaders and family members singing traditional songs, and Ajo residents looped around the spring. So it was an important event, and I was honored to be there and continue to learn more about the significance of this spring and that area to Western Pima County constituents. Thank you. Now we'll go to item 5, agenda adjustments.
On the regular agenda, page 4, item 15, under Development Services, this is the West River Road Specific Plan and Comprehensive Plan Amendment. There's a correction to the district. It should be District 3. On page 6, item 22, unfinished business from July 14th. This is the appointment of the Pima County Treasurer. This item will be heard after call to the public. On page 7, item 26, this is a petition for relief of taxes for Grimaldi Enterprises LLC, DBA Via de Dios. The applicant requests this item be continued because they would like to include tax year 2023 to their petition. The clerk's office requests this item be continued, and we will place it back on an agenda once we have received the reviews. And then on page 7, item 27, compromising taxes, interest, and penalties, Sonoran HW Solutions LLC. The assessor requests this item be continued to the Board of Supervisors meeting of August 11th, 2026. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to item number 6. This is a recognition of the retirement of Ira Bellinger, Division Manager with Regional Wastewater Reclamation Department for 27 years. And I believe we have Director Jenkins here to present that.
Oh, this is even better. I don't come enough to know the protocols anymore. But it's my honor and privilege, by the way. I'm Jackson Jenkins. I'm the director of the wastewater department for Pima County. And next to me, Ira Bellinger. He's an unsung hero of our department. As you've already said, he's the division manager in the conveyance division, where he leads a team of approximately 50 employees. And they take care of the conveyance system, the sewer pipelines, 3,500 miles of them that run throughout our service area. But the real important notable things about Ira, he's a native, a local kid that's done well. He's been with the department over 27 years. He is not one that's much for fanfare and attention and stuff, but we were very pleased that he agreed and was willing to come before us and do this public acknowledgement of the public service that he's provided. So before I finalize with Ira, I want to also introduce Steve Ritchie, is one of my deputy directors that's over the conveyance division. And Steve, if you had anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I've worked with Ira for quite a number of years, and him originally at the conveyance division. I was at the treatment division, and we bonded really quickly over our shared experience as alumni at Marana High School. Go Tigers! And so just the communication that we shared over all the years, and then coming over the warm welcome I got coming over the conveyance division, and the camaraderie we've had over the years. Just thank you for all your service to the Pima County public. Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you for the wonderful opportunity to serve this community. It was my honor. Thank you.
All right. Let's do the photo op. Come on.
Thank you so much. Our next item number 7, is a presentation of a proclamation to James Stormans, Tribal Liaison, Division of Child Support Services, Arizona Department of Arizona Department of Economic Security, proclaiming the month of August 26th to be Child Support Awareness Month. And Nicole Olvera will be accepting the proclamation. I'll move the item. Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0, and I believe Supervisor Scott presenting.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Whereas Pima County recognizes August as Child Support Awareness Month and reaffirms its commitment to strengthening Arizona's families by providing child support services to improve the economic stability and well-being of children. And whereas a child who receives emotional and financial support is more likely to feel safe and secure and is better equipped with the courage to be their very best in life. And whereas the Department of Economic Security Division of Child Support Services, DCSS, is committed to putting Arizona's children first and to humbly serving Arizonans with excellence, respect, integrity, and kindness, as well as being an overall champion for economic growth and opportunity. And whereas DCSS strongly advocates for parenting responsibilities because parents and children benefit when both parents are engaged with their child at every stage, regardless of marital status. And whereas DCSS recognizes the commitment of legal guardians who accept responsibilities for children in the absence of parents. And whereas strengthening individuals and families with an emphasis on fiscal responsibility promotes the safety and well-being of children, provides stability, improves the lives of children, and provides opportunities for families to be able to enhance their children's future. And whereas Child Support Awareness Month values parents' involvement in their children's lives and honors those who make regular child support payments to safeguard their children's future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pima County Board of Supervisors hereby proclaims the month of August 2026 to be Child Support Awareness Month, passed and adopted this 28th day of July 2026. Congratulations.
I just want to say thank you so much to the community, but especially to the board and to Pima County for continuously supporting this initiative. It truly is important and it matters, the financial stability. It not only creates unity within a family, but it also helps secure the future for those children. So thank you so much.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda is call to the public. First, quick note, if you're here for call to the public, please complete the green speaker card. If you intend to speak for one of the hearings, that is a yellow speaker card, and you'll be called upon when we get to the hearing part of the agenda. We have 5 speakers, which means that each speaker gets 3 minutes each. And now I will read the guidelines. People attending the meeting shall observe rules of propriety, decorum, and good conduct. Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks or who becomes boisterous while addressing the board may be removed by the sergeant at arms if directed by the chair. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistling, yells, and similar demonstrations shall not be permitted by the chair, who may direct offenders from the hearing room. We have, I believe, one telephonic speaker. Is Ms. Trista DeGenova on the line?
Hi there.
Hi, your 3 minutes has started.
Hi there. Dear Pima County voters, I'm an artist and whistleblower running for a seat on this board. My name is Trista Trampas DeGenova. I'm an Oxford, Berkeley, and Taipei Medical University educated, award-winning teacher, public health researcher, artist, musician, investigative journalist, and author who is running for District 5, Pima County Board of Supervisors as an independent write-in candidate November 6th. That's TRISCA if you want accountability from your public officials. And this is the 18th time that I have asked this board, who will no doubt ignore me, for an independent investigation into the scandalous rape raid that took place upon my private residence about 3 years ago and carried out by upwards of 60 officers. And I know it's hard to believe, so I have made a documentary about it. It's plays every day all over social media. Interim President Teresa. I'm also running for our independent presidential candidate 2028 election. And I also have a Walking the Detective documentary exposing the Keystone Cops for all the crimes they committed in the case against me. And Sheriff Nana is directly responsible under the legal doctrine of respondeat superior for the tremendous abuse of power and waste of taxpayer money to carry out a smear campaign against me, his opponent, because I was and I am also running for independent sheriff candidate. So I have already taken out a notice of claim against Pima County, and I encourage the Guthrie family, by the way, to also call for an independent investigation and putting a notice of claim against this bunch of bandits who's involved in this investigation. It was a setup in my case, maybe it was a setup in their case. I also have provided a ready-made civil rights lawsuit for the YouTubers whom Sheriff Nana unlawfully arrested, violating their First Amendment right to free speech, and covering this broad investigation better than the cops, no doubt. Which is, and shame on this board for ignoring board conduct. Pima County got me on the board, and I guarantee we will move and we will free DACA recipient Carla Toledo. We will also charge any ICE goons or law enforcement collaborating with them who are kidnapping our citizens off the streets from their schools, workplace, and homes and churches. Get me on the board, and the ICE goons operators in Pima County charged on state terrorism charges and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and referred to the International Criminal Court for crimes against humanity along with their boss. Now, this is the kind of leadership we desperately need, not just in Pima County, but in America. So I believe, and inform you, I'm also running for independent sheriff candidate. You can forward your comments in support.
Thank you,
of,
Mr. Genova. That is time. Our next speakers, and I'm just going to list them all out in the order that they'll be called on. First will be Penelope Jacks, followed by Robert Royce, J.P. Salvatierra, and then Reed Sperling. Come on up, Ms. Jacks.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Allen, members of the Board of Supervisors. My name is Penelope Jacks. I live at 2231 East Maple Street. Thank you for having me. Of course, I'm here to talk about preschool. First, I just wanted to thank you all for your commitment and support of the PEATS program. Literally thousands of kids have had the opportunity to go to high quality preschool because of what you have done. So I think it's become something of national note now, and I hope you feel as proud of it as I do. It's a pretty exciting thing. Later today, you'll hear that there's a lot more kids who need PEEPs than there are places to pay for them and money to pay for them. But so we are working currently to try to resolve that, to deal with that through the Supercharge PEEPs process. You've repeatedly said that the current expenditure for PEEPs is the floor, not a ceiling. And yet we still know that the Pima County can't be the only payer. It cannot be, there's simply not enough money in Pima County alone to pay. So which is why we really are working to bring together the private sector, public sector, the county, and the Preschool Promise Coalition to really think about innovative ways of finding more money both locally and nationally to support the PEEPS program. I have to say, in my life, I've raised a lot of money, but it's always been for political purposes, and you can do that really fast. That apparently is not how it works with this sort of thing, but we do now have a robust campaign plan, I guess is the best way to say it, and a structure by which we can move forward. And there has been some success already. Time for me to stop? Oh, okay. Anyway, you will be hearing about that in the near future, but I wanted you to know you are not alone in this, that we are all with you working. A couple things I wanted to mention. One is, unfortunately, puppies are more popular than toddlers, and it's a lot easier to raise money for pets than for kids. So I would be a little concerned that the success that the Friends of PAC has had might not be reproducible for children. So that's just something to think about. I also think it's very important that we remember that we need to keep creating more places of high quality, so that as we add more children, there are places for them to go. It's not always kept up, so we have to keep that process going. And finally, we should remember that PEEPs should be available to every child. I think our members of our community are smart. They understand the idea of sliding scale. And I think we can work with that to make PEEPs available for every child who wants it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Robert Royce.
I'm Robert Royce. I have begun the process of gathering signatures to put a Jefferson party on next year's City of Tucson election ballot. And part of the process is, we need 1,918 signatures, so it's not going to be a really big haul, but part of the process of promoting it, I'm going to be publishing Jefferson's inaugural address and doing some readings from it, from the second paragraph. During the contest of opinion through which we have passed, the animation of discussions and exertions has sometimes worn an aspect which might impose on strangers unused to think freely and to speak and to write what they think. But this having been decided by the voice of the nation, announced according to the rules of the Constitution, all, of course, will arrange themselves under the will of the law and unite in common efforts for the common good. All, too, will bear in mind this sacred principle, that though the will of the majority is in all cases to prevail, that will to be rightful must be reasonable, that the minority possesses their equal rights, which equal law must protect, and to violate would be oppression. Let us then, fellow citizens, unite with one heart and one mind. Let us restore to social intercourse that harmony and affection without which liberty and even life itself are but dreary things. And let us reflect that having banished from our land that religious intolerance under which mankind has for so long bled and suffered, we have yet gained little if we countenance a political intolerance as despotic, as wicked, and as capable of as bitter and bloody persecutions. There will be more later. Also, I will be publishing the whole thing at my expense, available to anyone soon. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next speaker is JP Salvatierra.
Getting better? Okay. Madam Chair, Board Supervisors, Administrator Lesher, my name is Jonathan Salvatierra. I'm a native Tucsonan, and I have had a stay away from the meeting scheduling, but one thing I'm very pleased to hear about is that we didn't conflict with the mayor and council meeting today in your schedule. Now, I know it's very easy to do with the city clerk just looking at that schedule and making the necessary adjustment. If you need to make a decision on how to make that a permanent action by her, please do so. Disenfranchising the public in any way, shape, or form actually devalues the merit of your service. And there's one other item in the agenda today that I really like to see. The item 11, the architectural design funding for the Richard Elias Mission Library and renovation. What an incredibly wonderful man. he gave the best years of his life for this Board of Supervisors. And I and many others truly miss his candor and his unwillingness to separate his dignity and his ethos with some political agenda. So God bless him. Next item I'd like to mention is that no virtual meetings or study sessions and meeting scheduling concurrent with mayor and council. This meeting type scheduling, I mean, we don't have martial law in effect, and we don't have a pandemic, and virtual meetings disenfranchise about 65% of the public because they don't have the computer access and abilities like the first speaker to come up and shout at us interminably. Excluding public attendance disenfranchises the public's input and community attendance. Do not avoid meeting scheduling and creating an arbitrary intentional lack of quorum like the mayor and council is doing this month to accent extra vacation scheduling. Also, you had $6.2 million that you gave to the board of the Chamber of Commerce, and it seems highly exorbitant. I mean, we have huge other measures with social significance that needs to be addressed.
Oh,
I
that
appreciate
is time.
your input and activity. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the summer haircut you got there as well. Our next speaker and last speaker is Reed Sperling.
Hello, supervisors. It's not a good evening. A mother was abducted today in Tucson by secret police. The fact is that none of us, none of our families, are safe anymore. The president and his advisors are literal terrorists, the American Taliban. So as the midterms approach, all I know how to do at this point is to share some stories that I hope will help show how we got to this point and how our local politics mirrors our national politics. This story starts in August 1981, when 13,000 American air traffic controllers went on strike for better pay, disability benefits, and fixes to stressful working conditions. 3 days later, Ronald Reagan fired most of them, teaching employers around the country that they could break unions by treating people as disposable. 2 years after that, the Arizona National Guard collaborated with Phelps Dodge to replace 1,300 striking workers, effectively ending the unionization of mine workers in Arizona. The story continues in February 1985 when Reagan proposed a $10 million cut to AIDS research. That year, about 6,000 people would die of the disease and tens of thousands more in the following years. In 1987, our local hero enters this story. Rex Scott, 24 years old at the time, was elected to the Athens, Ohio City Council. Against the backdrop of the Reagan administration's cruelty towards queer people and campaign to destroy workers' rights, Rex chose to run as a Republican. He was a moderate Republican and even sponsored a bill to add a non-discrimination protection for gay people and other queer people to the city code. Thank you. But opponents of the bill took it to a referendum, which narrowly lost. Presented with the opportunity to reintroduce the amendment, Rex said, "It seems to me that we have to go along with what the people have desired. They've said they don't want this issue." Compare this to what Rex has said about Project Blue. In the face of overwhelming opposition to this surveillance data center in our community, he said he had to exercise his best judgment, even if that went against what the people of Pima County desired. When workers' rights were being dismantled in the 80s, Rex ran with the party doing the dismantling. When it was the rights of people like me on the line, Rex retreated. But when a Trump-aligned private equity firm's data center profits were on the line in Pima County, he stood firm for months. What a lesson in priorities. Supervisor Scott, I do not trust you, and I do not think anyone in this county should either. Good evening.
So that concludes call to the public. Do any board members want to, one, request staff to follow up on any matter from call to the public, two, request that an item be placed on a future agenda, or three, respond to a criticism? All right. Thank you. We are now going to move on to our first time certain item. Well, we're going to move first to item number 22. I don't recall if we actually did a time certain or not. Anyway, we're going to move to item number 22, which is the appointment of the treasurer. I would first just want, well, go ahead, Supervisor Connell.
Thank you, Chair Allen. On behalf of the District 5 office, I want to extend my deep appreciation to all of the candidates who came forward: Jake, Brian, Derica, Sammy, Jim, Derek, Daniel, Jorge, and Don. This is an incredibly important time for us to be able to ensure that we do the work that is needed in the Treasurer's office, that we have the right kind of leadership, and that we have an opportunity to rewrite a new chapter in the history of this particular office. I had the pleasure of meeting with all but one of the candidates. There was a scheduling issue with the final, and was impressed. I think everybody demonstrated that they were qualified, that they had the opportunity to be the next treasurer. This is an appointment, and this candidate needs to get 3 votes to be able to move forward. I am particularly impressed with one candidate who is a District 5 resident and who also was spot on in the type of engagement that I was looking for in a candidate. So with that, I'd like to nominate Daniel Dempsey.
Not hearing a second, the motion fails. Supervisor Scott.
Thank you, Chair Allen. Before I enter a name for our consideration, I wanted to offer a thank you to the employees of our Treasurer's office, many of whom are here this evening. Collectively, they have provided well over 200 years of service to the people of Pima County. And the person who we appoint tonight will be the 4th treasurer in just over 2 years. Even given all this change and tumult, the Treasurer's office staff has steadfastly kept their focus on meeting the needs of the people of Pima County. And I know the entire board is grateful to each of you for that. I think special thanks also need to be extended to Chief Deputy Treasurer Jake Martin, who played a significant role in overseeing the daily operations of the office even before Brian Johnson's resignation. Mr. Martin has clearly built trust with the Treasurer's office staff, and he has made their well-being his highest priority. He also is very knowledgeable about the office's operations and statutory obligations. When you talk to him about the work entrusted to the Treasurer's office, it's impressive that he has built that knowledge in a mere 19 months on the job. With those introductory comments, I move that we appoint Jorge Soto as the next treasurer of Pima County.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Connell.
Chair Allen, thank you. Each person, as Supervisor Cano said, who put their name forth deserves commendation and thanks. They are a distinguished group, and each of them presented a compelling case for their appointment. However, when I interviewed Mr. Soto, he stood out due to his impressive credentials, experience with finance and customer service, and his calm, gentle, and positive demeanor. He demonstrates an admirable devotion to lifelong learning, collaborative leadership, and analytical reasoning. Throughout our conversation, he kept coming back to how every decision he made in his past, or that he would make as treasurer if appointed, would be guided by his principles. He referred specifically to leadership challenges in his past where he had confronted staff morale as a serious issue. I believe he will use these lessons to draw on the vast experience in the treasurer's office and work with his team to rebuild climate and rapport in the office. Mr. Soto himself summed up why I believe he is the right choice for this job when he said in his letter of interest, quote, "Managing large financial portfolios taught me that leadership is about more than numbers. It is about earning trust, making thoughtful decisions, developing strong teams, and ensuring every dollar entrusted to your care is managed responsibly and transparently." I hope my colleagues will join me in supporting Jorge Soto as the next treasurer of Pima County.
Thank you for that. I also wanted to thank everybody who put their name in the hat and went through the process and met with us, shared their experience, their interests. And I appreciate that we had applicants with incredibly tenured careers, applicants who demonstrated commitments to public service and public office, applicants with strong financial backgrounds and understandings, complex understandings of the fiduciary responsibilities of the treasurer's office. The treasurer's office needs a leader who can be trusted, who brings strong leadership skills and management skills that can restore confidence in the office, I think internally and externally. At a minimum, and I think part of that internal confidence should translate into people not having fear to report incidents of harassment, not having fear around abuses of power. At a minimum, right, it is our job to appoint a leader who creates a culture in which employees can stand up for one another and stand up with one another. And while we have many strong candidates, I will join my colleague in supporting Jorge Soto for the appointment. Not only does Mr. Soto have 14 years of work experience demonstrated in leadership and management roles, I think his understanding and experience, and this is the thing that I think kind of struck me the most, was the experience and understanding of mentorship, supporting the growth and development of employees who he has worked with and his team, identifying ways to move people up, to play on people's strengths, and then also understanding, as Supervisor Scott said, how to navigate complexity and difficult moments in workplaces. Those are valuable skills. They're skills that are trained and they are skills that are learned, and I think Mr. Soto possesses both of those. And I think those are some of the many reasons that I will support that motion. Well, then, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Abstain?
Then we are nominating Mr. Jorge Soto as next treasurer for Pima County on a 4-0 vote. And
Chair Allen, if Mr. Soto can go over to the clerk's office with the deputy clerk, Katrina Martinez, she's right here, to execute your loyalty oath. Okay, thank you.
yes. And again, a sincere thank you to everybody who expressed their interest. All right. We are going to move over to we're going to hop over to some hearings because I know we have a few speakers here. We are going to go to item number 14. This is hearing for Rancho del Cerro. So we have, it's the right page, we have two speakers signed up. We have Mr. Robert Workman and Janice Arnold.
Good evening, everybody. Wanted to thank Supervisor Allen, Chief of Staff, and can't remember Tom's last name from Department Development Services, but wanted to thank all of you for setting up the virtual meeting that took place this week amongst ourselves and our neighbors regarding the plat note modification that we've requested. From where we stand, we thought the meeting went well. There was good attendance, good questions. Hopefully we were able to answer everybody's questions to their satisfaction or not. From where we stand, it seems the only technical issue that was raised regarding the plat note modification was one of drainage, which we discussed last time we were here at the last meeting. And we discussed yesterday that our engineer has developed a grading and drainage plan that was submitted as part of our application. It'll also be submitted as part of the building permit. So all those issues would be addressed. If there's any comments from building, that obviously those would be addressed and incorporated. Side note, there was a question brought up during the virtual meeting about the local CCRs and whether or not we were compliant or not. We did reread the CCRs and we are in compliance with all of those. Majority of the meeting, even though Chair Allen and Chief of Staff in the beginning of the meeting said that this was not about the garage itself and the placement, the majority of the meeting was spent on that, where we answered questions that each of the neighbors had, and actually was quite pleased that one of the neighbors actually was very appreciative, realizing that that was not the actual subject of the meeting, but that he thanked us for going through everything and answering everyone's questions. Other than that, really wanted to thank everybody for the opportunity to speak and present our case with this, and look forward to hearing what the board has to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Arnold.
Good evening, Supervisor Allen and board. And I'd also like to express my thanks to Supervisor Allen, Mr. Boyd, and Mr. Dragnowski, sorry, Tom, for taking the extra time to schedule the meeting to speak with our neighbors. I hope that throughout the process here, last time we were in front of you, as well as the actions and our discussions with our neighbors, that you can see that we really take this seriously and that we want to be good neighbors. We want to be conscientious about what we're doing. But at the same time, obviously, I mentioned this is our dream home, and we'd really like to finalize being able to complete our dream home by being able to add this garage and to have the minimized impact to the property that even our neighbors are viewing, which is why we're asking for the plat note modification. Hopefully, we've demonstrated that we try to be responsible, conscientious neighbors, and just wanted to thank you for the time and look forward to hearing the outcome.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Okay. Then I will move to close the hearing. And I wanted to offer a few little comments before making a motion. I did want to really thank the applicants, Janice Arnold, Bob Workman, all the neighbors from the Rancho del Cerro area, and then also Tom Draskowski from the Development Services Department, for the willingness to talk it through. To be honest, this is the first time that our district has actually had an issue kind of like this, where it is, neighbors want to do something and other neighbors don't want it. And so, my experience is that we should at least try to air the concerns and air concerns directly, and rather than kind of plowing through the process with a vote and having a lot of lingering feelings. That said, this is challenging. I think it is obviously hard to find a solution in which everybody's happy, which is a common occurrence, but it's still something that we strive for. This application is about removing a 1-foot no access easement so that a 130-foot driveway can be built that would give access to a 1,200 square foot standalone garage, right? That is sort of separate from the residence. The things, as you noted, that we can't control, and these were things that I think a lot of the neighbors had the most concerns around, is if and where the garage is built. But understanding that the zoning for the area allows a garage to be built, and that you can choose where you want to put it. If we approve the plat modification, right, it is approving you building the 130-foot-long driveway. If we don't approve it, then my understanding is that your options are to build a 400-foot-long or a 600-foot-long driveway to access where you plan to put the garage. The neighbors are hoping that it is a no vote, right, and that you will then decide to maybe change your garage design and put it on the footprint of your existing footprint for your residents. We heard concerns about erosion, runoff, drainage issues, the view shed, and impacts to plant and wildlife. So where I've landed is that I am not willing to gamble on you deciding to move where you want to put the garage. And so for me, I think the decision is one of, is the driveway, the 130-foot versus a 400 or 600-foot driveway? I'm going to go with the 130-foot long driveway to try to minimize the amount of land disturbance. So I am going to move to approve the plat note modification, CO 12-76-52, but with conditions, with 3 conditions. One being that every effort be made to revegetate the disturbed lands, including protecting, preserving the cactus and other plants that are disturbed through the process of the construction and from the driveway. Second, that the garage and roofing, that the materials and the color be as desert masking colors, desert blending colors as possible. And including that along those materials, that they be non-glaring, right? If metal can bounce, anyway, you understand my point. And then third, ensuring that, I appreciate that there is an engineer-conducted drainage and erosion study, that you do everything to the full extent, right, that is put forward to minimize and mitigate any potential drainage and runoff erosion effects from the impact of putting in the driveway and the garage in that area. So those are my 3 conditions.
I'll second, but I have a question.
Yeah.
Are the conditions agreeable to the petitioner?
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
And then I will also ask Tom Drozdowski from Development Services. Now I'm just flaunting that I can pronounce the name. If Mr. Drozdowski, are those conditions that we can incorporate in?
Chair Allen, board members, putting in appropriate conditions to mitigate adverse impacts on neighbors is definitely allowed.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Thank you. Is there anyone else who is here? We have hearings from items 12 to 20. Is there a show of hands if anyone is here for another one of the hearings? Just want to make sure.
Chair Allen.
Yes,
I think
Supervisor.
Mr. Portner, who's being shy about raising his hand, is here for item number 15.
15, okay. Okay, great. I think we are going to move now. Well, let's see, what do we got? We got a few more hearings. I'm going to get us through these hearings, and then we're going to come back to the conversation around PEEPs and the IDA, and then we'll start to do some of the presentations from staff, just as a roadmap where we're going. So going back to the hearings, we've got the first one is item number 12. This was a continuation. It was unfinished business. Liquor license application for Black Roosters. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on this item?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I do have
Supervisor
some
Christie.
information on this that I'd like to have explained. Mr. Drazewski, there are some issues regarding the liquor license approval by the State Liquor Board before any kind of hearing of this nature can really be formulated. Could you explain the nuances, but and kind of very quickly give us an overview of what the situation is?
Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie, this case is a little unique. The applicant's requesting a wholesale license. When we think of wholesale licenses, we think of large sale distributors in industrial zones storing, beer, wine, where trucks deliver it to locations throughout the southern Arizona. This case is a little unique because it's out of a residential property. It's a very small product that I believe comes from Italy or France that's delivered. The property owner ends up bringing it out to specific restaurants himself. There are no customers. Wholesale licenses are unique. The property owner did not go through any type of discussion with us prior to applying for the liquor board. There are timeframes that the state liquor board puts into effect for counties to respond. That timeframe's quickly approaching. And so it's my recommendation at this time for us to continue working with the applicant to see the appropriate way to approve this request if it's approvable. It may be through the home occupation permit or through a formal rezoning. So at this time, it's probably best to, staff would recommend sticking with our recommendation of denial. And at that point, the applicant can reapply once all of the approvals are in place at the county level where we could support the request.
And Madam Chair, Mr. D, would you then suggest that after that denial that staff could reach out to the applicant and kind of guide him through the process that needs to be adhered to with the state liquor license and the requirements for this particular item?
Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie, what we've done is reached out to the applicant in advance, let him know that one opportunity he may have is to reach out to the liquor board, withdraw the request, continue to work with us, let us get this resolved, and then ultimately reapply where we can recommend approval.
Madam Chair, with that, I'd like to move that the board deny this liquor license request according to the position of staff.
Second.
Can you also move to close the hearing?
And to close hearing, and that's basically it, right?
Yep. Oh, on this item? Well, we just closed it. We can reopen.
Move to reopen hearing.
Thank you, Supervisor Christie. Seconded by Supervisor Scott. All those in favor of reopening the hearing? Aye. Reopening passes 5-0. Mr. Salvatierra. And then if you could also, when you are done, fill out the little
Yellowish card.
You got it.
Thank you very much, Chair Allen, supervisors. I would like to mention a time over 50 years ago that I worked for an outfit called Parade Foods. and they had their own business, was separately located. They served many of the major restaurants and hotels here in town. And I was a driver to make deliveries and stuff. But, you know, it was a very wide distribution area of specialty products, sides of beef and other items. They had a cold and a freezer on a large size property in the northeast area. And, you know, to accommodate people that are unique to Tucson is a welcoming experience. I mean, we praise the Chamber of Commerce to bring people to this kind of an activity. And certainly there are other distributors, but they don't hold, you know, a monopoly on distribution. So it seems more appropriate to give some consideration and common, you know, sense to making these opportunities available as Tucson expands and we become, you know, a unique culinary and gastronomic experience for vacationers. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. And while we got it open, anyone else wish to speak on this hearing? No? All right.
Madam Chair, I want to thank Mr. Salvatierra for those comments. I think they have some wisdom and enlightenment that we should all consider, but in this particular case, I'd like to move that we close the public hearing and deny the applicant's request for the liquor license in accordance with the staff's recommendation.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Scott. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Item 13, is there a hearing for a liquor license for Chipotle Mexican Grill? Anyone present who wishes to speak on this item? I will move to close the hearing and approve the liquor license permit.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 15, this is a hearing for specific plan and comprehensive plan amendment. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak on this item?
Chair Allen, Jim Portner is my name, Projects International, representing the applicant. I am the applicant representing the owner. When you were asking before for people wanting to speak, I thought you meant members of the public, so sorry for the swing and miss on that. I didn't know if you wanted to hear a staff report first from Tom Drzgowski, or see, I can say Tom's name accurately too some days when I'm not tongue-tied. Or I can just give you a couple of additional comments beyond what's already in your materials. Okay, thank you. The only thing I want to stress, a couple of points to note. Tom's group did a real good job, I think, of outlining all of the issues. Beyond that, I just wanted to stress this is infill development in every aspect of the word. It'll be served totally off of existing public infrastructure that already has the capacity to serve it. The only additional infrastructure is that which will be required on site, and that will be built, of course, at developer expense. The second point of note is Pima County actually had a material contribution to the whole conceptualization of this project and the ultimate specific plan. And that's because about 40% of the acreage that's included in this project is former remnant surplus pieces that Pima County had owned, leftover bits of right-of-way and other remnant pieces for which they had no more need or public purpose. So your property management department packaged all of those and one at a time did an appraisal, brought them forward for an auction process. We were the successful bidder on all of those. And so we're able to bring all of this together under kind of one umbrella. And it's a lot better use of those remnant pieces to be developed under a coordinated, integrated whole with design guidelines, et cetera, within a specific plan that I think can be a much better addition to the neighborhood and the surrounding properties. So those are just the 2 points I wanted to stress. And beyond that, I'd be happy to answer whatever questions you or the board may have of me.
Anything that you might want to add, Mr. Drzgowski?
Chair Allen, supervisors, I appreciate the comments that Mr. Portner made. I know my teams worked really hard on this. The hard work put in, and this is an underutilized property that will be developed for either commercial or residential / commercial uses right along the loop, with opportunities for people to live closer into the city and infill. So staff is supportive of the request.
Chair Allen.
Supervisor Scott?
I just reading through the minutes from the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, I feel like there's some information that was not included in the minutes, and it just really makes me curious as to how they got to this point, because it says Commissioner Truitt made a motion to recommend approval. Commissioner Lane offered a friendly amendment to increase the density to 50 residences per acre, accepted by Commissioner Truitt and seconded by Commissioner Gungle. Commissioner Gungle then offered a friendly amendment to instead set the density to 15 residences per acre, seconded by Commissioner Lane. That was eventually approved, but I'm just curious, after the Planning and Zoning Commission initially indicated that they wanted 50 residences per acre, seemingly in the next minute, they took that down by 35 to 15. And I just wondered, what was the full course of that conversation? Because it seems like there was some details that were left out of the minutes.
Chair Allen, Supervisor Scott, interesting dialogue that occurred at the commission. So Mr. Portner presented a couple preliminary development plans, site plans that he was presenting. One of our commissioners wanted to greatly increase that. That becomes problematic with our notice requirements and what we've shared with neighbors and what we've presented. So increasing the amount of units to 50 per acre far exceeds what was being shown by Mr. Portner, who represents the owner. That would have had to go back through the process and start all over. We would have need to have updated plans. It would have completely changed the site. And those are things that have been shared at neighborhood meetings. That's what our staff has reviewed. That's what our Department of Transportation and Flood Control Districts has reviewed. So that is a substantial increase and would have had to start over. In talking with Mr. Portner's comments, I think mentioned that maybe that those amount of units weren't feasible. So what the commission did was provide a slight increase from 12 to 15, which would have more integrated into the site and provide the additional opportunity for Mr. Portner and his client to build slightly more units if the opportunity presents itself when they're finally designing out the product. So that's kind of the behind the scenes of what happened at the hearing.
So is it fair to say that after Commissioner Lane offered his amendment and it was seconded, staff intervened with some appropriate comments, and then the second motion was made?
Chair Allen, Supervisor Scott, we did provide our comments and our recommendations, and the number was changed to 15.
And since we're all apparently trying to demonstrate our prowess in pronouncing your last name, I'll just say thank you, Mr. Drzgowski.
Thank you so much.
Can we vote?
Supervisor Scott, would you be
Sure.
okay if I jumped in too?
Sure.
Because I think that I might even have a simpler explanation than Tom's.
Wow.
Because Tom's very articulate and he gave you all the policy aspect of it. From me, I was sitting there and I heard 15. I didn't hear 50. And I know some of our commission members were online, not in, and I think they may have heard 15 too. And finally, when it was clarified that she was asking for 50, I said, that's way beyond what we could live with, because again, it would be a whole one, it wasn't feasible for that particular location. That's downtown density, all right? And we would have had to have gone back and done a completely new traffic study and all that for something that we really didn't think was appropriate for that site anyway. So we just weighed in and say 15, that's fine. But 50 was way too much out there, so.
Thank you, Chair Allen.
All right. Hearing no further comments, I'll move to close the public hearing and approve the specific plan and comprehensive plan amendment P26SP 00001, subject to standard and special conditions with an additional condition as recommended by staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Alan, members of
Thank
the
you.
board.
I'm going to bump us ahead. I don't believe we have anyone else here for these hearings, but we do have other folks here. Okay. So I'm going to bump us up to, I think, do we have people who are here for peeps? See some yes, some hands. All right. Then we are going to move to our, which would be item number 24. This is wait lists for Pima Early Education Program and board options. I will move to, I'll turn it to the administrator. This is a discussion.
Thank you very much, Chair Allen. And what you have before you is memorandums. Supervisor Scott did ask for some additional information about the wait list and what options might be to fully fund. As you know, at this point, the county is providing $10,750,000 a year for early education. Unfortunately, the need in the community far exceeds that. So the request was to provide additional information and then to walk through funding options. That's the memo before you. We do have here today Nicole Fife from our office who works on the PEEPS project, obviously people from who work in the community side of PEEPS. And I think what you have before you is the memorandum. I believe Supervisor Scott had asked these questions. So if you want to elaborate on any of the conversation, or if there's additional information we can provide, happy to do so.
Chair Allen. Thank you very much. And I think it's important for us to go back to when this program was created and restate its overarching goal, which is to reduce barriers to access to high-quality early childhood education. And wait lists are an obvious barrier. We've got, according to that memo, 630 kids who are on the wait list to get into a PEEPS classroom. And I knew going into our discussions of the budget that there were wait lists. I'm very grateful to Director Sullivan and Ms. Pina and Ms. Scott and Ms. Fife and Ms. Brinkerhoff from the United Way, because they provide my staff and I a quarterly update on where things are going with PEEPS. And I asked about those wait lists some time ago and then got an email from Ms. Scott. I should have asked about them when we were talking about the budget. I don't know that we would have known the full extent of those wait lists when we were talking about the budget, but we would have known at least some about them. And I think we could have had a more fulsome discussion about the library district property tax rate and other considerations. I didn't ask that. And I know that the county administrator certainly, very understandably, felt that the board's intent was to provide no more than the $10,750,000 that was referred to in the memo and also in her presentation. I asked some follow-up questions after we got Administrator Lesher's memo. I asked if we could potentially make use of the contingency fund within the library district. And she let me know the other purposes that we have for that contingency funding, that she wouldn't recommend that use. I asked if there was a way of going back and look at, and this might have been a vain question of going back and looking at the unencumbered fund balance. Well, we'd already passed the budget, so obviously we couldn't do that. I then asked if we because you'll notice when you look at the memo, there were two options, either to provide additional scholarships or to provide funding for additional classrooms to our partners in the K-12 districts, and to pay for that out of contingency funding. And the administrator not only mentioned that that would be a use of one-time money to deal with a long-term problem. Might solve some of the issue going into this academic year, but we would be facing the same issue going into the next academic year. And she also reminded me something that the board is well aware of, which is that we decided to take up potentially a second round of short-term crisis and emergency relief grants, and the Southern Arizona Rescue Association grant funding that had been lost due to federal cuts, I believe, in October, and that would have to come out of contingency funding. And we're dealing with just a little bit over $3 million in our contingency account. So one-time funding is not going to address a long-term problem. Moving forward, I've let the county administrator know that going into budget discussions, I'd like to know the full extent of wait lists, at least to the extent that you can share them with us at the time that we're discussing the budget. And then one other thing I wanted to mention is that, and Ms. Jacks referred to this when she was here during call to the public, there was a reference in the memo from the county administrator that we might consider setting up something similar to Friends of PAC, which has been very successful in terms of raising contributions to support the Pima Animal Care Center. I like that as long as the focus of any such nonprofit would be on early childhood education. The memo said that we might set up a nonprofit that would solicit contributions for support of a variety of worthy programs within the Community and Workforce Development Department. My feeling is that that would be painting with too broad a brush, trying to get a certain amount of money to support a lot of different programs, whereas early childhood education already has a significant amount of support within the private sector, including our business community, within the nonprofit sector. If we go that route, that Friends of PAC-like route, I'd rather it be something that is entirely focused on support for early childhood education. I also think that could be melded with what Ms. Jacks and Ms. Griffith and her team are doing with regard to the Supercharging Peeps program. And I've had some discussions with another member of the board in terms of where we might go to solicit even more support from the private sector, because I appreciated what Ms. Jacks said. Pima County has made a significant commitment to early childhood education dating back to 2021. We've got a stable source of funding through the library district, but we cannot expect the property taxpayers of Pima County to be the only ones who have skin in the game with regard to supporting quality early childhood education in Pima County and reducing access to it. So I'm interested in exploring all options for increasing support for the PEEPS program. And in terms of the county's support, I think the best thing that we can do moving forward is make sure that we have as full an understanding as possible of the need going into a new academic year. I don't think that the figure that we've committed to annually is written in stone. I think we want to be looking at the overall need that our preschool programs face, and then try to address that need to the best extent possible. Those would be the only comments that I had, Chair Allen, but thank you very much.
Supervisor Cano.
Thank you, Chair Allen. I want to thank my colleague from District 1 and all of our county staff and our community members who are here today in both the public and private sector for being here to discuss one of the most important investments that we can make in our region, and that is in our kids. I have mentioned to a few that I am now in my public engagements talking about our incredible 7,000 county employees and the 1,500 PEEPS kids that we have, because investment in our kids is what we have to do. We have the authority under a Republican governor in our library district, Governor Ducey, to be able to allow us to invest in our workforce through the library district at the earliest, our 3 and 4-year-old babies. And that is investment that we should be proud of, where we have had now for many years 1,500 kids being able to dream big and for us to be able to provide cost relief to parents. I see this entire discussion today as one of regional importance and have already started to socialize what we have to do to be able to grow this program, reduce the wait list, and to keep talking about where we can go with this milestone of an investment. There are two things working in our favor right now. This year, we've implemented a sliding scale fee with our PEEPS program, which means that we are going to be able to have a bit more capacity to keep up with the demand when parents who are able to pitch into this early childhood education. But we also have a fiscal cliff happening with the First Things First scholarship, with tobacco taxes. The way that this is funded in the state is you fund cigarettes. More people are not smoking, but they are smoking vapes, and those are not taxed. And so we need to continue working with our state delegation to reform the structure that First Things First has. And that will mean that the same time that we are providing opportunity through the sliding scale next year, because more money will come in from parents who can pay, we will also have to simultaneously navigating the cuts to First Things First scholarships. I see this as an opportunity. I see us really holding hands with the Chamber of Southern Arizona, with our major employers in the region to narrow down what the sustainable ask is for modest but critical growth. If we can get to a day where right now we have 630 kids on this wait list, what would it take in the next year or two to reduce that by 50% in year 1, and in year 2 we get down to a wait list of 0. District 5's dream is for PEEPS to be as universal as possible for every working parent in this community, because that's the type of investment that other states are making. It already is proving dividends for folks who are the kiddos who are in 3rd grade, who started with us just a few years back with pre-K. And so as we look for ways to mitigate costs in our region, I just think this is such a smart opportunity for us to all come together. It costs between $10,000 and $15,000 a year for parents of 3 and 4 years old to be able to enroll their kid in child care. PEEPS is smart. It's a great program, and I know that we have to. What I think I'm noticing is that we have got a lot of people who want to help. We've got to put our brains together, and we have to figure out how we can diversify this source of funding. I know we're going to get there. I'm encouraged by all of it, and most importantly, this now needs to go to the region and to our business community as partners in this. They have employees who have kids as well that need this type of investment. So I'm excited. I appreciate my colleague from District 1's engagement on this since the get-go, and working, of course, with Supervisor Elias to also dream big about this investment. Looking forward to how we can put our brains together and recognize that to eliminate this wait list is between $7 and $9 million. So that's not going to happen overnight. That's why I'm asking for us to narrow it down a little bit, and then we can see what we can do. The PEEPS program is award-winning. National Association of Counties has recognized this type of investment, and we have the statutory ability to do this, and thank goodness we do, to continue ensuring that we have the pipeline early. So that's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
You know, the one thing I have one question and then just a comment to layer on. And that is, and I don't know I should direct this to, but some of our wonderful county staff, of which there are many, who may be able to answer this. I am curious if anyone knows off the top of your head, or if this is something you could get to me later, is around the wait list in more rural areas, and sort of particularly sort of the distribution then of wait list in rural areas.
Chair Allen, members of the board, that is a great question, but it is one that we will need to get back to you on.
Okay, I figured. The other thing I just wanted to add is that I recently went on a tour of the Amphi School District's ECHO program, and it was amazing. And it was in the context of looking at programs that have been successful in combating chronic absenteeism. And I think the way in which kind of ECHO and thinking about PEEPs and these programs that can kind of link together, right, and that get kids onto a strong footing, a strong academic footing that guarantees their success, or, increases their likelihood of success in schools, is so important. And I understand, I think some of my colleagues are also going to be taking a tour of ECHO.
Just today.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay. But I will note it was the incorporation of like academic support and the enrichment programs and the child care, and then linking it with services for the family and services for the students. And it is just building that broad platform for families and kids to be successful. So I want to acknowledge and thank folks for the amazing program in Amphi, and then thinking too about how we can strengthen and learn and build from some of these programs that are showing up that are not showing up, that have been rigorously developed and, sleepless nights to put in place. So all this to say, but thank you to my colleagues for all your thoughtfulness around the evolution and continuation of PEEPs, and you can always count on my support. Oh, Supervisor Hines?
Yeah, thanks. So, I don't know. I think this is exactly what the taxpayers of Pima County should want to have us invest in, which is children. The benefit is, it's really hard to quantify, but early childhood education has I don't know, it's like 30 something full. Every dollar you put in, you get X amount of dollars out, and it's like a really high number, I think in the 30s. So, like we did with affordable housing, we could absolutely dedicate additional funding from our library district. We could kick that up 3 cents a year for 4 years, starting next year. We can't do that now for this year. But that would take care of the, we don't have ongoing funding to support what we're doing now. And in the meantime, I know we can't really throw $8 million at the entire wait list right now, but it would be kind of nice if we prevent sliding backward because of the First Things First scholarships going down by 19, it looks like, because less people are smoking, which is great, or they're dying, which is less good. And then the PEEP funded Quality First scholarships dropping by 107. We could do a one-time general fund contingency allocation of $1,587,600, which would take care of 126 scholarships. So not the whole entire wait list, but it would certainly help a lot. And families that have been receiving, or scholarships before would not be told they can't have them this year. I think that would be, and I believe that was a recommendation of not those specific numbers, but I believe general fund contingency was the source that the administrator was thinking would be, if we did anything, would be the best place to do it from. So that's not really a motion. I just kind of wanted to hear what people think.
Chair Allen.
Supervisor Scott.
I had a similar conversation to the point that Supervisor Hines was making with the county administrator last week after we got her memo, and thought much the same thing. And that's why I appreciated that the memo broke down what the cost would be for X number of scholarships. I think it had 3 different examples. And then Supervisor Hines has also come up with a 4th number based on what happened with First Things First funding. I still feel that we would be giving a one-time shot in the arm to the program, and we'd be back at this point next year. I'm also cognizant of something else, and I referred to this in my remarks earlier that the county administrator brought up, that if we do indeed take up another round of short-term crisis and emergency relief grants later this year, and if we take up the issue that Supervisor Christie brought up with regard to support for the Southern Arizona Rescue Association, that's also going to come out of contingency. So what you're thinking about would take up about a third of contingency. And I think doing that 1 month into the fiscal year is a daunting prospect to consider, although the rationale for doing it is one that I feel with both my head and my heart.
I also went through a similar thought process and looking at the memo and, sort of stewing on the $1.2 million, thinking about contingency, but also was the reality check of that we are a mere 28 days into our fiscal year, and worry about all of the other cuts cuts and obstacles that are being put in place for SNAP benefits, for access, and all the other stresses and strains that are going to emerge over the coming year. And that makes me not want to tap too quick, too soon contingency funding in anticipation of the unanticipated. Supervisor Kano.
What I will just say, and this is getting really in the weeds, but I do think it's an opportunity for us to kind of take a little bit of a deep breath. We are about to activate the Bond Advisory Committee in just a few days, and a lot of the capital investments that the county has been making over the last several years, both through library, flood control, transportation, they've been general fund or secondary taxes. If the voters agree to a package next year that invest in this community for several years, no matter what that amount is or the specifics, that is going to allow us to be able to have greater investment in all of our community, but certainly being able to move around county resources that would allow us to sustain a program, if adopted, of course, to a program like PEEPS. And so I hope that that is making sense, that as we grow this program, we have to make sure that it is done in a way that is manageable, but ultimately I feel like we need a 3-year plan at this point to look at what other communities have done. There's a lot of innovation out there. I learned recently of a county in Ohio that has worked with the business community to essentially establish a voluntary newborn amount. So $200 for every newborn in that major employer. It goes into an early childhood education fund. I thought it was kind of fun and innovative that an institution or a community would bring all the employers together for a voluntary match into a fund like that to invest in early childhood education. Other communities have found really important public-private partnerships, established offices of early childhood education to be able to, through a county structure, to be able to tackle this because they know that it is going to be an investment that is smart and wise in the short term and the long run. So I encourage the administration, and I would love to actually to hear from either Director Sullivan or Ms. Pina or Ms. Scott about what you want this board to keep in mind. You guys have been our champions, ensuring that this program is able to thrive in its current capacity. And I am curious if there's any guidance that we can hear or input from staff to inform these discussions that the board has had today.
Chair Allen, members of the board, thank you for that opportunity. And also for the ability to give us a little bit of grace and time as we work with our business and nonprofit partners to, as Ms. Jack said earlier, bring in some diversified funding. Our recommendation right now, honestly, I don't have one. I think keep in mind the dollars need to come both from public and private sector. You can't do it on your own. And what you're doing here is innovational and national recognition. And I will forever be thankful of what this board decided to do in 21, and then again, increasing that budget this year. I think right now, if we could get possible meetings with each of the supervisors to give us some clear direction on what you would like to see this program go forward, and also allow us to get waitlist numbers that are more up to date and consistent with what you're looking for, and also to just recognize that we do have an Office of Early Childhood Education within CWD that was created almost a year ago, and to allow us to have conversation about what that can look like above and beyond PEEPs. And I think that's all I have.
One more.
Supervisor Hines?
Thank you. I think it would be helpful if we just throw more stuff onto the staff to do. So, I mean, like they don't, come on, so it's what they're here for. So it would be, I've heard a lot of ideas. I think one we haven't heard of is matching. I don't think I did, but if I did, forgive me, I missed it. But like whether it's from private dollars, other jurisdictions, having the county be a matching entity perhaps to make funds go farther, that would be great. I would like to hear, you know, what would happen if starting next year, we as a board decide to increase the library district separate and apart from other stuff that it has to be increased for by 2 or 3 or whatever, 3 cents a year, like we did for affordable housing. That generates about $3.6 million a year, and do that, do that over the several years. I would love to see kind of some of these ideas put to paper and fleshed out in a memo. Maybe Administrator Lesher and Nicole Five, whoever else, and anything else that my colleagues have mentioned, so we can kind of, because I think more money has to come from somewhere. Yes, there should be money from the private sector, and anything the county can do to sort of push that out of the private sector, I think would be really helpful.
Any further? Oh, Supervisor Scott.
Just since I think we have made all of our comments about this item, I just want to take this opportunity to not only thank Ms. Pina for her leadership within the Community and Workforce Development Department, but to congratulate her on her recent election to the Oro Valley Town Council. Thank you.
All right. Any further discussion? Okay.
Yes, Chair. Administrator Lesher, I'm worried that today's conversation didn't provide enough direction. So to staff, do you feel confident in coming back to the board at a time certain with a more refined plan on how to reduce the wait list? How can we support you and our staff right now on this?
Chair Allen and Supervisor Cano, I think you did provide good direction. I think that the elements I heard are what's a 3-year plan that we can develop? What can we look at a variety of fundraising opportunities, from matching funds, creating a nonprofit wing? What can we pull together? How do we engage the business community? How do we find other models that are happening there? And I think what's important is for us to hear from the board the recognition that there's 2 numbers we need to look at, or we've looked at. One is the $10 million, historically now 10,750. The other is the number of kids who need services. What I've heard is that and we heard it again earlier, that was a beginning, and the amount of funding is less critical and a focus than is the number of children for whom we're providing service. So what does that look like when we come back and working with our partners and saying that the nut we have to crack is X? That's the number of kids that need service in early education and childcare. How do we collectively, with our business community and other jurisdictional partners, make sure that we have a plan for you for at least the next 3 years to ensure we are providing the funding for those kids?
Thank you, Chair Allen. And Administrator Lesher, from the District 5 perspective, just to provide a little bit more of a narrow of what I'd like to see, I would like to see what it would take to cut this wait list in half by year 2. And I would love to, if funds are available, champion a match from this board if we have support for it, upwards of $1 million on top of what we've done. I think that the private and public sector is going to need some kind of leverage in this, with the caveat that what my colleague mentioned from District 1 is that one time is the big caveat in all of this, right? We can't, if we are going to be growing, that's going to have to be baked in so that we never have to present to this board a recommendation that we reduce the amount of enrollees we have in the PEEPS program. But that might help kind of where I'm at right now of something very tangible, which is cutting it in half by year 2.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for that discussion. We are going to move on. Let's see what we have that people are here for. We're going to move to item number 25. This is the Pima County Industrial Development Authority. And I believe
I would like to make a motion.
Please do.
Could we please, for the purposes of legal advice, go into executive session on item 25?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Supervisor Scott. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. So we're going to go into a brief executive session for this item, and then we will return. All right. We are back from executive session, and we are considering item number 25. I think for this item, I wanted to first note that I think the Pima County IDA, well, I think I first wanted to thank the administrator for really rolling up her sleeves and spending a significant amount of time to really meet with all of the stakeholders and interested parties and map out a series of recommendations, a memo, for how to utilize this opportunity to strengthen the IDA. Pima County IDA is so incredibly important, and I don't even really need to expand on that. It strengthens our economic development. It's expanded housing opportunities across the county. It's improved infrastructure through financing projects, all things that Pima County has benefited from and needs more of. This particular restructuring that you have outlined, I think, brings us much closer to alignment with Pima County priorities. Reporting requirements are going to be critical to ensure transparency and really good stewardship moving forward. The supporting organizations that have been part of it have greatly expanded the reach of the IDA and in the both and the impact, I think, both present and past. So I'm pleased to see that the recommendation for a position on the board of a representative who can bring that experience and that community perspective. I have a series of motions that I want to introduce. There are 4 of them that we will go through and vote on them as they are introduced. So the first motion, and I do this and I want to thank all of the IDA board members for their incredible service. And this is not, this action is not an indictment of the board members. It is us taking this opportunity to really embrace the recommendations and some structural changes in moving forward the IDA. So that said, I will make the motion to remove the 5 current board members without cause.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Is there discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Item passes. Those opposed? Item passes 5-0. My next motion is to approve the memorandum include that outlines organizational structure, membership, and composition for the Pima County IDA with the exclusion of Exhibit A.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion?
Chair Allen.
Supervisor Scott.
Just a point of language, would it be attachment A instead of Exhibit A?
Oh.
And a question too, that on this one, does this one include the appointment of the suggested individuals, or is that on the third? Okay.
No, this is just a motion that adopts what has been outlined from aligning strategic priorities, the coordination, reports, meetings, etc., and then excludes attachment A that would outline, and we will take that up in a separate motion. So this was seconded by Supervisor Hines as corrected. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0. All right, that's 2 motions down. The next motion is about, it is actually building on attachment A. This is the membership of the IDA Board of Directors. I will move to elect Ellen Moulton to serve until September 1, 2032, to elect Patrick Kavanaugh to serve until September 1, 2030, and to elect Sarah Feld, representing the 4 affiliated nonprofits, to serve until September 1, 2028.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Item passes 4-1. The final motion pertains to how the remaining 2 seats get filled. So the motion, I will move that within 60 days, the board will bring the board of the IDA, will bring to the Board of Supervisors 2 candidates to fill the remaining 2 seats.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Item passes 4-1. Thank you to my colleagues
Thank
for
you.
working through that.
Chair Allen.
Supervisor Scott.
Just in the interest of time, I wonder if my colleagues would consider approving the following items. Sitting as the Flood Control District Board, items 9 and 10. Sitting as the Library District Board, item 11. Sitting as the Board of Supervisors, items 28, 29, and 30, and addendum item number 1.
Supervisor Christie.
I'd like to singularly address number 11.
So I'll revise that motion to remove item 11.
And 28.
And 28.
And was it, were there, and that was it, I think.
It was 20, and also 29 and 30, Supervisor.
Yeah, just 28.
And 11 or
And 11.
Okay. I'll amend my motion to remove 11 and 28.
Second.
Thank you.
That was seconded by Supervisor Christie. Supervisor Kano?
Can you just remind me what our motion now is?
Yes, sir. It would be sitting as the Flood Control District Board, items 9 and 10. Sitting as the Board of Supervisors, items 29, 30, and addendum item number 1.
Excuse me. I lost the addendum.
Yeah, there's only one item on the addendum.
Yeah. And I'd like to have that one addressed singularly as well.
Okay. I will revise it again to include only items 9 through 10, sitting as the Flood Control District Board, and sitting as the Board of Supervisors, items 29 and 30.
Second.
Thank you.
All right, seconded by Supervisor Christie. Further discussion on any of those items? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Items pass.
And those items again, Madam Chair?
Us sitting as the Flood Control Board for items 9 and 10, sitting as the Board of Supervisors for items 29 and 30.
Chair Allen.
Supervisor Scott.
I will move sitting as the Library District Board, item number 11.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Christie. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Item passes 4-1.
Chair Allen.
Supervisor Scott.
I would move sitting as the Board of Supervisors that we approve item number 28.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Christie. Oh, that's me now. Discussion? All those in favor?
Chair Allen.
Oh, Supervisor Kano?
Thank you. I want to thank the administrator, our Human Resources Department, and of course our partners in labor at AFSCME. This particular item is the result of our county employees coming together and asking for bereavement leave, and the expansion of this 40 hours of paid leave for death of eligible family members where a death or services occur in and out of state. This is a good thing, investing in our employees, allowing them to heal with their families in a time of loss. And I am just grateful for the incredible work that's been done to get us to this point. We should be an employer of choice, and this certainly gets us closer to respecting the wishes of our families and our employees. Thanks.
All those in favor of the item? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Item passes 4-1.
Chair Allen.
Supervisor Scott?
Also sitting as the Board of Supervisors, I'd move that we approve addendum item 1.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Christie. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Item passes 4-1. All right. Any other bundling magic?
Did we consider?
I'm scared to do it with hearings.
Have we considered consent?
Not yet.
I will move approval of the consent agenda, which is item number 21.
Madam Chair.
Supervisor Christie.
I would like to pull item 3 and 5.
Chair Allen, I'd like to pull item number 7.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. Item 2 and 5.
Okay, but not 3.
But not 3. 2 and 5.
Okay.
So I will move the consent agenda minus 2, 5, and 7.
Yes.
I'll second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda minus 2, 5, and 7 passes 5-0. I will move item 2 on the consent agenda.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Christie. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Item passes 4-1. I will move item number 5 of the consent agenda.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion?
Madam Chair.
Supervisor Christie.
I'd just like some clarification on this item. This is since April 20th of 25, we have had 4 vendors in a year and a half, all awarded by direct select with no bid. And this is almost $250,000 coming out of the general fund. First, there was an entity, and I couldn't find the original entity in the background, but then that contract was terminated or withdrawn, and it went to Old Pueblo Community Services, which was, as I say, awarded this contract as a result of some entity before them being terminated. Then it was awarded to a firm called Recovery in Motion, and then Recovery in Motion was terminated. Now it's being awarded to Arizona Rehab Campus. So that's 4 vendors in a year and a half, all awarded by direct select with no bids. And I'm certain there are all kinds of intensive outpatient programs or rehab centers, and why no bid and why such turnover?
Chair Allen and Supervisor Christie, I do not have the response to that and the breakdown of this at my fingertips. We'd be more than happy to provide a memorandum to the board delineating the history of this service at the transition center.
Can we continue this item to the next meeting?
Chair Allen, I'm prepared to vote on this today.
Could I still get the memorandum?
Yes, sir. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Item passes 4-1. Now we move on to item 7. I will make the motion to approve item 7.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion?
Thank you, Chair Allen. I will be supporting the motion today. This particular, who's the point of contact, Administrator Lesher, on this of the deputies? Facilities. Okay, yeah, just trying to figure out who besides the administrator, and I don't need comment today.
Okay.
But
Mr. Holmes.
I want to make sure, Mr. Holmes, Administrator Lesher, colleagues, we have multiple years now of having third parties provide county services, security, janitorial, the ability for us to be able to put the prosperity in motion is a conversation that also has to happen with the contractors that perform core services. Every year, we provide a living wage compliance report. And if you look at that data that is telling us that the average person doing a county function, but with a private vendor, is getting an average of $15.22. So when you multiply that by 80 hours, assuming this person is part-time or full-time, it's a $31,657 per year salary. When we are presented with these options of extensions, and I recognize that our security contract specifically with VetSec is going to be put out to bid at another time. This looks like this is another one-year renewal. I just think we have to be a little bit more mindful about how we can ensure that we hold hands with those who we see in our buildings every single day, who protect us, who clean our offices. And I couldn't approve this today without saying that I don't believe that us solely doing our due diligence by getting an annual report, compiling all of this, is doing us any service in terms of promoting investment in people. So to put into a short sentence, you're asking this board to increase this contract by 1.75. I'm voting for it today because I don't want to disrupt essential services, especially when we're a month or two from this year's contract being over. But I don't have any clarity in that to understand if this is going to wages, is it going to support additional costs related to VetSec? And I've had this conversation with Mr. Stuckey, our security guru, let's call him that I also fundamentally believe that VetSec, I have not understood, some of them don't have phones in the event of an emergency. There are gaps in services that I think we have to figure out if they're tasked with protecting the people who come to work every single day. And so I hope that all makes sense. Decipher it how you will, but $15.22 an hour across the board seems like I'd love for us to discuss how to bring some of these jobs back to Pima County. Thank you.
And Chair Allen.
Supervisor Hines.
Thank you. I would echo my colleague from District 5. I think that I've talked about this with regard to the jail as well, in terms of the medical and behavioral health staffing there. I really think that there are some things that the county should be doing in-house, those services, especially in the jail. But this as well. I think this is something we should very seriously look at before we go out to bid for a third party to come in and do this. We should see a plan from the staff to perhaps just hire internally, and maybe that's Mr. Stuckey, I don't know, but I would love to see that come to us before we are voting on another contract beyond this one.
And I will just echo my colleagues too. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0, and that concludes our consent. We have a couple of presentations and items that involve staff who consistently, patiently wait. So if we could go to hearing number 20. This is a code text amendment related to air quality, federal regulations. So first, this is a hearing. So is there anyone here present who wishes to speak on this item? Okay. So with that, maybe we'll just go.
Thank you.
Go right to the director. Sorry.
Well, thank you. And Chair Allen, obviously what you have before you today is proposing an update to our air quality regulations. Mr. Tobias is here, who will walk through highlights of some of what is before you today for your consideration.
Chair Allen, members of the board, thank you for entertaining me tonight for this public hearing for the incorporation by reference rulemaking. Please move to the next slide. So what we're proposing in this rulemaking is an addendum to an amendment to Title 17 of Pima County Code to incorporate by reference federal regulations from Title 40. These federal regulations include new source performance standards, or NSPS, national emission standards for hazardous air pollutants, or NESHAPs, and acid rain regulations. So the US EPA updates these versions of their rules July 1 for the year prior. This proposed rulemaking also proposes several clerical changes in Title 17. Next slide, please. So this rulemaking proposes to update the local county codes to align us with the federal air quality regulations in the Code of Federal Regulations, and to be in alignment with the delegated authority from the EPA to implement and enforce the NSPS and NESHAPs. These are the programs that we incorporate into our air quality permits at DEQ. The plan moving forward for the department is to do this incorporation by reference on an annual basis to keep us up to date and in alignment with the Code of Federal Regulations. Next slide, please. The rulemaking timeline started back in March on the 11th. We had a start of the public comment period and a notice of expedited rulemaking. It included an oral proceeding in April and the close of the public comment period. The department received a couple of really good comments and questions in regards to the original proposal. That warranted a supplemental proposal that had some additional changes to the proposed language and an additional 30-day public comment period. That started on May 8th, and we had an oral proceeding on June 8th, and it closed on, the public comment period closed on June 12th, and we're here for the public hearing. Next slide, please. So getting a little bit to the weeds of what changed between the original proposal and the supplemental proposal, there was some confusion in the original proposal. We added some Code of Federal Regulation exclusions from permitting that were in alignment with the Code of Federal Regulations. One of the commenters was confused whether that meant we could do air permits for gas dispensing facilities. So in the supplemental proposal, we made a revision in some of the clarifying language to align with ADEQ and Maricopa County's rule language that made it more clear that we still are able to do air permitting under local code as well. And that seemed to clarify as there were no other further comments as part of the supplemental rulemaking. Other changes that were from the original proposal, there was an incorrect citation for 40 CFR Part 63 subpart Quad Z. Incorrectly had rubber tire manufacturer, and we corrected it to the stationary reciprocating internal combustion engines. The other one in 1716-490 subsection A, the initial proposal had strikeout of subsections B, C, and D that appeared in the current codification of the county rules to not be there. The initial commenter was correct in that there was never a board action that actually removed them, so we clarified that and confirmed that with the clerk of the board, and we're able to add that in as part of the supplemental, along with some minor formatting and address updates. And then there were some other grammatical errors that were fixed in part of the supplemental. And that concludes my presentation, and the request for the board is to adopt the ordinance as presented. Thank you.
Are there questions from the board?
Yeah.
Supervisor Hines.
So it can be kind of anything PDEQ, right? Or does it only have to pertain to air quality? Probably air quality, right?
Presumably the code text amendment.
I'm gonna go with air quality. Okay, fine. I really want to talk about the read-to non-attainment area and why ADEQ is not giving us any instructions as to what to do about that, but I can do that separately, I suppose. But I do think it makes sense to do this sort of an update on an annual basis if that's not what we're doing, because there's a lot in here. So that's all.
Your last slide kind of touched on this. First of all, thank you for the presentation. And I think that the key thing that I was trying to understand in preparing for the item was just how this is, in what ways is this strengthening, and are any ways in which it is weakening of the existing standards?
Chair Allen, members of the board, this is keeping us in alignment with the Code of Federal Regulations. The previous iteration that the department did was several years back. So any changes that took place over the last several years may not have been incorporated by reference, and that's why we're doing this rulemaking. I don't believe there's any weakening or strengthening associated with these updates by incorporation by reference, as is applicable to our air permits.
And then are there any new exemptions that are being put into place as a result of getting in alignment with the federal regulations?
Chair Allen, members of the board, the exemptions that were in the proposed rulemaking align with the federal regulations. There was some confusion as it relates to the language in there that an air permit isn't required unless it's a major source or there's a violation of the Clean Air Act. However, local Pima County code has permitting thresholds of significance that bring those, and I gave the example of the gas dispensing facilities, that still has that requirement. Once they hit a certain emissions threshold, they're required to get a permit with the department as part of our Pima County code.
So there's no, well, so I understand that it's in alignment, but does that, in getting aligned, are there, and apologies for not understanding, in getting aligned, are there new exemptions, increased exemptions for any particular industries as it relates? Because it's a lot of sections or chapters. But I'm just wondering about what the impact is of getting aligned with the feds on these.
Chair Allen, members of the board, there are no immediate impacts or weakening of our code or of Code of Federal Regulations that are in our air permits. This is just more or less aligning up to almost the current day in regards to the Code of Federal Regulations.
Okay, right. Yeah. If there's no further questions, then I will move to close the hearing and vote to approve ordinance number 2026-9.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Scott. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item passes 4-0 with Supervisor Hines absent. The other item that involves Director Boland is item number 23. This is a county administrator hiring process update. Thank you, Director Boland, for your patience.
Yes, absolutely. Good evening, Chair Allen and members of the board. I can advise you that last week we updated the brochure with the help of the communications department. That update included updated criteria for the position, an updated timeline, as well as how to submit the applications to Slavin Management Consultants. Last week, additionally, Ms. Lesher reached out to each of the search committee members. There's 15 of them. We advise them of the new search firm that we are going to be working with, and we are also asking for them to provide a date that they can conduct the semifinalist interviews. I've heard back from all of them with the exception of 3. I expect that I will have those dates solidified this week, and it will be occurring during the last week of September. Also this week, I reached out to the 10 candidates that we had from our recruitment that we attempted in human resources. I connected those 10 candidates with the current recruiter, Mr. Cross. I have also reached out to all board offices as well as the clerk of the board about upcoming meetings and getting those on the agendas. We will have September 22nd. This will be information that Mr. Cross will provide to you concerning the semifinalist. We will be adding an item for October 13th. This will be for Mr. Cross to provide you information regarding the finalist. And then we will be adding an additional meeting on October 20th. This will be an opportunity for the board to have in-person interviews with the finalists and to have a discussion with the recruiter about your selection. We anticipate having a board item on October 27th where you can announce and make your selection for your final candidate, but that will be pending whether the contract has been negotiated and approved. And just a reminder that August 21st is going to be the first review by Mr. Cross of the candidates that submit their applications. With that, that concludes my updates.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board? No? All right. Appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair,
Supervisor Christie.
I think we do have a couple people for a hearing. I'm wondering if we might be able to consider that.
Absolutely. Which,
Item number 17.
okay. Great, then let's go to item number 17. This is a conditional use permit for Torres Blancas Holdings. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak on this item?
Excuse me, good evening, Chair Allen. And board members, my name is Todd Doust, 109 East Tuckey Lane, Phoenix, Arizona. I'm here on behalf of Pacific Coast Towers to present our request for Type 3 conditional use permit for a 65-foot camouflage communications tower with Verizon Wireless as the anchor tenant. I'd like to thank you for your time tonight. I'd also like to thank staff for their very thorough report that is part of your packet. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank the folks at the Sunrise Point HOA and the Green Valley Board for their help in site design and in placement issues. This site is configured within a much larger parcel, that parcel being the golf course. It utilizes additional open space from Sunrise Point, as well as the Interstate 19 right-of-way to achieve maximum setback from single-family residential homes in the area. The site does address a coverage gap in Verizon's service, and its design and placement will ensure that it addresses that gap in the least intrusive means possible. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Madam
Questions?
Chair?
Supervisor Christie.
I'd like to move that we close public hearing and move to approve the conditional use permit subject to standard and special conditions.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 4-0 with Supervisor Scott absent.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, could we look at hearing number 16?
16?
Thank you. Yes, item number 16, also a conditional use permit for a wireless communication facility.
Chair Allen, Board Member Christie, thank you. My name is Todd Doust. Again, I'm here on behalf of Pacific Coast Tower to present our request for a Type 3 conditional use permit application for a 75-foot stealth communications facility. This site is very similar to the site just presented, utilizes a much larger parcel to achieve as much possible setback from single-family residential as possible. In the case of the subject site, we were able to position the proposed facility at the southwest corner of the parcel, where it borders Arizona state land to the west and to the south to achieve maximum setback from the single-family residences to the east. And in this case, there is approximately 8 feet of a horizontal setback for every 1 foot of vertical tower height. So there's quite a bit of setback from the single-family residential uses to the east. Last but not least are the technical capabilities of the site that together with its design makes the site, again, the least intrusive means to address the gap in Verizon wireless service to the area.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Supervisor Christie.
Move to close the hearing and accept the recommendation of staff for approval and subject to standard special conditions.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion? I will note that we often receive comments from constituents for cell towers. We didn't get anything, so I reached out to a few people, and what we heard is that people are in support of the project and look forward to having better cell reception.
Chair Allen, thank you. Apologies to Mr. Drozgowski for giving him a little late tonight. You'll have a great evening. I appreciate your time.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0.
And while we're on it, maybe we could do 18 and 19, get them out of the way.
Great idea. All right, item number 18, this is a rezoning ordinance. Anyone present who wishes to speak to the item? I will move to close the hearing and approve ordinance number 2026-8.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Item 19, also a rezoning resolution. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak to this item? I will move to close the hearing and approve resolution number 2026-41, CO9-01-39.
Now second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 20, and could it be?
31.
Oh, 31. Oh, yes. It is not so. Item number 31. This is acceptance of a grant to the Sheriff's Office. I will move to approve the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Now, that is our last item, and we are adjourned until August 11th. Thank you all.
Thank you.